Good afternoon. All right. How's everybody doing? Good? It's a little warm. It's a great day. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. I'm Kevin McConville. I'm the town chair for the Philipstown Republicans. Today, in our presence, we have our chairperson for the entire county, the Republican chairman and Commissioner of Elections, Tony Scannapieco. We're also honored to have Kevin BYRNE from the Assembly District 94 and Assemblyman COLIN SCHMITT from the 99th District and congressional candidate for District 18. Mike Bartolotti, the county clerk, is here, and the former Deputy County Executive Dan Birmingham is here as well. Carl Albano is here, a legislator from District 5. Thanks for coming. And I think that's everybody, right? I didn't miss anybody? Raise your hand if I missed you. My vice chair, Lou Leote, is here. So again, welcome. Today we're going to introduce our candidates for the town to talk about a theme that we believe is truly sincere, honest, and accurate. And that is, when we work together, we are better together. And that's what our candidates are going to do. They're going to work not only at the local level, town level, and county level, but even at the state with their partners to make our community better than it is today. As you know, I announced about a month and a half ago my candidacy for sheriff. I spent 30 years in law enforcement working to become interactive and engaged with the community while establishing a professional law enforcement agency. I will take the same skill set and experience that I had with the MTA police and bring it to Putnam County, and we will succeed, and you will be proud of the men and women of the Putnam County Sheriff's Department and the corrections officers. Who forgot to check about the trains? So without any further ado, let me introduce to you our candidate for Legislator, District 1, Barbara Scuccimarra.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. And it's so nice to see some of my friends from across the way. You made that long trip. That's great. Kevin told me 3 minutes. I'm going to try to do that, but I got a lot to say. Start off by, it's my great pleasure to announce that I am running for legislative for Putnam County District 1. Thank you very much. Before I start my little spiel, I want to thank my husband and my son and my granddaughter and my daughter who can't be here today. When I first told them that I was going to take this on again, I really don't want to tell you their reaction. But after some time, they decided that it was the best thing for me to do because I'm so passionate about my job. I had 6 very successful years on the legislature, and I want to do that again. I want the job back. I worked with so many great people. I was able to bring forward several initiatives. My proudest is the Senior Center in Cold Spring. Our seniors had a totally inadequate space, and it took 6 years, but we got it done. I kept the post office in Cold Spring. I worked hard to do legislation to fight tobacco and vaping from our youth, which is such a big deal, and I believe we still have a lot of work to do on that. I protected the river at every chance I could because that is the gem of our area. But I could not have done all of these things without the support of my legislature partners. It takes 9 people to make a decision. And yes, there were times when we didn't agree. We fought. But at the end, we did what was right for Putnam County, and it was right for Putnam County to do what I did. You know, with the turmoil going on today all over our nation, we can't bring it home. We can't tolerate it at home. We have to get together and work together as a group for the best we can be in Putnam. And I believe this team behind me will work with the town, the villages, and all across the county to make this Putnam an even better place. You know, I worked with so many different department heads. The county health department, Dr. Nejewitt. I sat on the health committee for 4 years, I think, as chair. And it was a wonderful experience, and the Board of Health. And I saw what each department does and how hard the health department works. I worked with Fred Penna in Highway and John Tully. And I believe my 4 years on the town board working with Roger Cherico, he would call me and say, Barb, we got to go look at this road. And we'd get in that Jeep and we'd tool all over. And I carried that through. And I was lucky enough to work with Carl Albano on the Physical Services Committee. And we did good work. Also, you know, working with the legislative staff. Anytime I had any work to do, any research, they were more than willing to help. County executive, walking down that long hallway to talk to her about issues. Door was always open. Again, it's working together. And I'm so excited. I want this job back, and I am going to work hard to get it back. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Barbara, huh? Go on. And we're going to work with you to get that job back, Barbara. Our next candidates are for town board. They're going to run for council person. Sarina Tamagna.
Thanks. We actually haven't done it, so I'll do it on behalf of my running mates. I'd like to have like 30 seconds just to recognize all the people that have passed away from COVID. It's been a very difficult time for most of us in this community, and I just wanted to at least acknowledge it, especially my cousin who passed away right at the beginning of it. It took me pretty hard, it hit me pretty hard, so if we can have just a quick moment of silence for people that we've lost. Okay, so first, thank you all very much. I'm honored, to say the least, in standing before you as a community to accept the nomination of Philipstown Republican parties to serve on the town board. I grew up in this area. I spent my first 19 years of my life in Continental Village, where I grew up with a beautiful lake at my fingertips and a really lovely childhood with many fond memories. And I missed it after all of my travels around. So I came back to the village of Cold Spring, actually right up the hill, bought a condo so that I could come visit and enjoy the beauty of the Hudson Valley. And that wasn't good enough. I decided to come back again permanently to the North Highlands, where I reside right now. The fact that I've had an opportunity to live in all three of those places proved to me that there is very unique challenges, but unique opportunities with each one of those areas. And I have a very different and unique perspective on understanding them. So my belief and my motto is a more connected community. The motto serves as our reminder that our goals are better when our community unites with a shared desire to maintain a healthy way of life for ourselves, for our children, and the generations that follow. These tasks are not simple, and any actions that we decide will be remembered for years to come. We're at a crossroads right now in Philipstown. During these difficult times, post the pandemic, we're faced with challenges around budgets, pressures for our Main Street local businesses, an aging population, and infrastructure deficiencies, all while trying to protect the beauty and the natural resources that we see around us and that we all love. As I head into November, I understand the significance of these challenges, and any decisions at this time will be remembered for both maintaining our way of life and, more importantly, for making unity, community progress for ourselves and for the next generations. If we stumble, what we hold dear and cherish will be at risk. So I bring to the table the energy and the tenacity to assist in our town's continued positive growth and stability. My goal is progress, and if we share in this common goal, we'll accomplish great things through a more connected community, and ultimately, of course, we will be better together. I'm honored, as I said, to be part of this outstanding ticket of talent and commitment, and again, thank you for the nomination.
Neal Tomann for Town Board.
Good morning. Thank you for coming out. Vinny, you didn't say that this was going to involve public speaking. What did I say? You told me I had to talk. Well, thank you for coming out this morning. It's really great to see everybody out. And I've been thinking about the better together slogan, which it's kind of growing on me, because yes, we are better together. I think that's the obvious point. But also I like about it is that it acknowledges that there is a difference. We are dealing with a divide, and which is good, because I think it gives us an idea of where we need to go. And after talking to people, everybody around here has got Republican friends, Democrat friends, probably about 50-50, just like me. But when I talk to people and we talk about things, I don't think that we're that far apart. I just don't see it. I don't see it as a thing that we can't figure out. So, I think that there's something to think about in the terms of what's been referred to as the basic social contract. And there's been all kinds of political philosophers talked about the social contract between the resident and the town. And the way that works is I pay you taxes, and you give me basic services. You give me the right infrastructure. You give me safety. You give me good schools. You give me, this is just the basics. And that's what we ask of the town. And I guess that's sort of where I come from, because I think that should be first. And then I'm all ears for anything after that. The environmental stuff I think is great. The working with the businesses, working with Main Street, all very important, but I think you have to concentrate on infrastructure first. And that's, I'm a 10th Amendment guy. I get a lot of mileage out of that. Everything should be left as local as possible. And I get a lot of good feedback from all kinds of people about that idea. And so that's sort of where I'm coming from. I mean, that's the way I think about this. So thank you for coming out, and I do think we're better together, and I don't think we're that far apart. Thank you.
Barbara mentioned Roger Cherico, and one of the things that people forgot to realize with that is Roger served as a trustee and the mayor here in the village of Cold Spring. So you can see the connectivity from the village to the town to the county to the state, and that's what being better together is all about. As part of that, there's an election this year in the village of Cold Spring. And we're supporting candidates that are our friends, that are our neighbors, that believe in the things that we do. Freedom, liberty, and justice. And as part of that, homeowner rights, and the whole gamut of things so that you can live your life without any fear or favor. With that being said, let me introduce to you Vincent Tamagna for Mayor of Cold Spring.
So let's get a couple of these signs back here, and starting out right away by directing as mayor, right? And come on up, Cathryn and Jeff, please. come stand right with us. Come on, behind you. I like that sign, that Better Together sign. Come on up here. All right, so, good afternoon. I'll tell you, contemporary politics at all levels of government has really bred a caustic culture. Its polarizing positions and divisive rhetoric has exhausted our society. Right? To turn this around, small governments and local municipalities must lead the way. At the most local level of government, we can demonstrate that people with different visions can come together to find common ground to help make their communities even better. Every community has challenges, and the team running this year has new ideas that will help improve the quality of our village. If we are to succeed at solving our problems, join me on the party line Better Together. We don't run in the village on a regular party line. We started our own, and I think that maybe the nation should take a look at creating a party that brings us all together under one tent. My primary goal in running for the office of the mayor of Cold Spring is to bring people together and restore a sense of community that in some ways has been lost. Village government needs to be welcoming and thoughtful. And it's funny, we're standing here, and I know Dan Birmingham, when he was on the legislature with me, will remember, I think you were in the deputy county executive at the time. This was a creation, this facility, the restrooms and the visitor center, was a partnership with Metro North, the county, and we got together with the village. At the time, it was Mayor Phillips, and we built this. It is amazing that I stand here today and that people come and that the restrooms are locked. I mean, there's no rest facility here. What sense does that make? And it puts a burden on the business community and doesn't exactly show or throw out a welcome carpet. It is my intent, though, to really put the residents first and to protect that sense of community that made Cold Spring the choice of many to live, work, and raise a family. Some of us have been here for generations, while others have chosen this place because of its abundance of charm. But I think we all want the same thing: a village government and leaders who put the interest of our residents first and above everything else. I recognize the village leadership is a balancing act. Indeed, we are better together, and there is nothing we can't accomplish if we work at it. That is why I am proud to be running with the team, with Cathryn and with Jeff. The Better Together ticket will make the difference in how we succeed as a village and work with every level of government. Together, we will help where help is needed, improve those things that better the quality of life for our residents, and support businesses while protecting the environment and preserving this restful and bucolic character of the village of Cold Spring. So let's put political partisanship aside. In the village, we're really not about being on a red team or a blue team. Instead, we need to work together toward a better tomorrow for everybody. We're all on the same team. I come to you with a record of accomplishments, like securing the seed money for the new track at the Haldane School, 2 trolleys for Main Street, the partnership that created these restrooms again, Preserve America grants for Main Street and Scenic Hudson's Foundry Dock Park, and financial support to the village to support refuse cleanup at the end of a busy tourist season. Think of how the community came together to save the dock in the 1980s. I know Roger was a driving force there. They rebuilt that waterfront park and bandstand that was in a state of collapse. We still enjoy it today. That was over 40 years ago. What new has been done? It was done with vision, volunteerism, and community support. As it was then, I know now that together we can develop a clear, well-supported vision for our future, so that maybe someday people will stand in a place like this 40 years from now and say, Look at what those who came before us were able to create and preserve. Over the next few months, you know, I am going to campaign like all heck. I'm going to knock on every single door, and I'll be visiting many of you personally and sharing my thoughts about what's at stake and how we could work toward a brighter future. At the local level, leadership is about answering the needs of our people by making sure the roads are plowed and safe to travel, drinking water is high quality, streets are paved, sidewalks are maintained, residential parking is available, law enforcement is supported and professional, recreation is enhanced, and people's concerns are addressed through a transparent plan that brings us all together. So where are we today? I believe that we're struggling, which is why this team is running. We're struggling to maintain what we once had. To develop a plan for our village, we must review existing policies and advance creative ideas. Unfortunately, today we have a tendency not to build, but to prohibit, to tear down without a plan to rebuild. The dockside property is off limits as you're greeted with yellow tape and a rope. Who are we keeping out? Our residents, of course. This begs the question, why? The Cold Spring Boat Club, a recent Superfund cleanup site, was razed, and there is no current plan to rebuild it. What has been taken from our community is much more than just a boat club. Indeed, it was a social outlet that I remember. Father's Day brunches, Sunday pancake breakfasts, and weekend get-togethers with friends, music, and neighbors enjoying one another. This is the fabric of what brought our community together for so many years, and we have lost it, and we need it back. Our sidewalks on Main Street leave much room for improvement. The current condition of our sidewalks risk lawsuits and ADA noncompliance. Moving forward, we need to plan to support our fire company, which has been inadequate for more than 20 years. We also need to remember to support all frontline volunteers, especially our local volunteers at the fire company and the Philipstown Volunteer Ambulance Corps. An innovative solution to parking congestion for our residents and businesses needs the continued discussion, as does the focus on village lighting and tourist parking. And here it comes, I'm closing. So in closing, I want you to know I will work very hard. We'll develop a plan that will work for us today and consider a better tomorrow, so that future generations will be proud to call Cold Spring the place they call home. I realize the challenge and understand that our successes can only come from cooperation and by bringing our residents' talents and ideas together. I want to say I think we all need to relate to one another. And I just lost a very dear friend, 98 years old, Dr. Frank Bumpus. I learned a lot from him. And while I was at home last summer, I had another new friend pop into my life. And that's Cooper. Cooper, come over here a minute. Come on, come over here. So Cooper likes chickens. I have chickens in my backyard, and I see this little green helmet bobbing along my deck. And it was this guy who told his class he has a best friend, Vinny. And I will say that I have a best friend, Cooper. Right, Cooper? And you know what? We could relate to every generation and every age. And I want to thank you and your mommy and everybody for coming down. And Nonna, too. Thank you. So again, let's close this and let's all realize we're better together. Thank you. All right, and the trustees are going to give you. I hope it's as long as mine was, right? No. Anyway, Cathryn, Fadde, and Cathryn, it's a pleasure to have you running.
Thanks everybody for coming. I think most of you know me. I've lived in the village now, except for a little 2-year stint to Wappingers, 26 years. I've had my restaurant on Main Street. June 23rd, it's going to be 24 years old. I served on the Chamber of Commerce as president with Vinny, so I like being on Vinny's team. I also was a trustee for one term that finished about 5 years ago. So I know how the board works, and I know how it doesn't work. And it doesn't work when you don't work together. I think I really worked hard to get things done with the board that I was with. But if I could have a team like this, we could really get the bathrooms open and do all the things that Vinny said, or at least we'll have partners in town and county government that will help us get those things. A village budget doesn't necessarily have the money to keep the bathrooms clean, but I'm sure we could find a partner or two that would help us. So I hope you'll vote for our team, Better Together, and let us get the village back where it belongs, and that means in the future, not back, but forward. Thank you.
And now also for Trustee Jeff Phillips.
Thank you. I was born and raised here, and my first job was the local paper boy. I think I know every street in Cold Spring and the outskirts. And as I wrote on them then, and I compare it to how they look now, they need a little work. And along with recreational properties, I played ball many years, and we just don't put enough into what we need to put in. So that's why I'm running. I think we are better together. We do need to have other people involved, not just the village, but the town and county. So that's my spiel. Thank you.
So there you go. That's a great example of Better Together. Everybody working from the local level to the state level to improve the lot of life for all our residents and our visitors. Let me introduce a couple of people that I missed on the first go-round. We had told our county executive that we were putting together a line called Better Together because of our beliefs, and she was incredibly excited by it and supports it. Our county exec, Mary Ellen Odell. The vice chair of the legislature, Neal Sullivan. And from our neighboring town and town board candidate, none other than Jackie Anabi. She's running for, supervisor. You're currently on the town board. All right. Colin, would you like to say a few words? Colin Schmidt.
Good afternoon, Assemblyman Colin Schmidt, blessed to represent parts of Orange and Rockland counties and be a colleague of Kevin's. I also recently launched my campaign for the New York 18th Congressional District. Just proud to be out here supporting Kevin and all of our wonderful local candidates. Local government is what impacts so many important aspects of our day-to-day life, and having responsive local leaders who, they know this community like the back of their hand is so important. Great to be here in Putnam. Spent several years here working in the state legislature with many of you, many great friends, and I look forward to being around and being an advocate for our Hudson Valley values now and many times into the future. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for having me.
And, works better without this for a second. Assemblyman Kevin BYRNE.
Chief, we're all very excited for your campaign for county sheriff, and thank you for helping lead the party and all these great candidates here in Philipstown. Like my colleague Colin, I don't actually represent the town of Philipstown. I represent much of Putnam County, but not this specific area. But I did spend a lot of time over here when I worked in Congress for former Congresswoman Nan Hayworth. I actually have memories of touring the waterfront properties when we were looking at the devastation that was caused by Hurricane Irene. We were working together with the highway superintendent, Roger at the time, Barbara Scuccimarra, our county executive, everybody, and it really does just speak to the point of needing to work together, and it's better when we work together. I look at that Hudson River, and I just like pointing this out. COLIN actually represents that side of the river. So he represents our great U.S. military academy. So if you hear those cannons firing and you want someone to complain or call to, you can call COLIN. Don't call me. But I actually always liked hearing it. But again, I'm just honored to be here to support these great candidates. And God bless you all. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you all very much. So that concludes today's festivities. You'll be hearing from us continually from now until November. We look forward to that, and we ask you to engage with us, to question us, to challenge us, because when we work together, we are better together. Thank you.